family heirloom, to be reinterpreted when needed from one era to the next, yet always retaining its essential qualities. And our discovery is that, to a degree that surprised us, it has been. Americans do not form a race in the way that the Germans or the Japanese do, but they do form a people, united around a set of ideas that the founders made concrete in the form of America's defining institutions and documents. Those ideas are only most directly confronted in political argument. Indeed, these ideas reach deep into the very fabric of American life, informing the way that Americans raise their children, speak their language, pursue their professions, pray to their God, or choose not to pray to any God, conduct their leisure, play their games, even the way they make each other laugh. Americans are unique in their vision of a dynamic, idea-driven identity, a fact that is demonstrated in one method of national self-criticism. In what other nation has the Constitution, a document laying out the machinery of government, taken on the quality of a sacred text? Where else but America does the claim, "That's unconstitutional," ring with the quality of accusation, as if it were calling attention to the immoral, the unnatural, or even the impossible? Indeed, where else can the "un" prefix be applied to a people the way that we say something is un-American? The Frenchman cannot be un-French, the German un-German. The 20th century German political theorist Carl Friedrich took note of that when he declared to be an American is an ideal, while to be a Frenchman is a fact. We conceive this program as a journey. One of the beauties of the American story is that it is itself a journey. The founders conceived it to be one. The ideals they set forth were just that, ideals, perhaps unattainable, but worthy goals for a nation of strivers. America, as the founders imagined it, was to be a nation in perpetual process, always in the act of becoming, often falling short of its own ambitions for itself, yet always ready to resume them. Americans set out to be just, but do not always achieve justice. They pride themselves on living in a free society, yet they do not always respect freedoms. They revere democracy, but they are sometimes undemocratic. The nation's avowed principles are distorted to serve evil purposes, as in the bombing of the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, and they are sometimes used against us. Only in a free society could men with sinister aims, like those responsible for the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, move about at will, preparing their assault. Over the years, America's principles have been shaken, molded, adapted, and assaulted, but remarkably, they endure. Perhaps the first person to take stock of America in a way that measured the nation against the founders' intentions was the Frenchman, Alexis Charles-Henri Clérel de Tocqueville. It was Tocqueville who in 1831 came to these shores and in a period of just 9 months identified with remarkable prescience the political convictions and national preoccupations that set Americans apart from the rest of the world. Tocqueville found Americans different in that they were more socially egalitarian, more interested in a society built around merit, more individualistic, more concerned with rights, and more devout than Europeans. They represented, he felt, the new man, and their country destined to rise to a position of leadership among nations, destined to command the world. Tocqueville saw Americans as essentially unchanged from the time of the Pilgrims, which is interesting because reading his book we can only conclude that they have not changed since the time of Tocqueville, even though the nation he saw was, in geography, about a third the size of America today, even though the western frontier ended for him at Memphis, even though the America he saw contained only around 13 million people. And so, like a traveler pockets his passport, we carried our well-worn copy of Tocqueville as we went out in search of America. Tocqueville's achievement was destined to become a genre of American literature, the journey book. In fact, when we set out to do this project, we were astonished by how many attempts preceded ours, and then we realized it only made sense. If a nation is always in the act of becoming, it stands to reason that it would change from generation to generation, and that sociologists, historians, literati, and dare we say even journalists, would heed the call to